Hello everyone, and welcome to today's Daily Trade Watch, where we look for high probability trading opportunities that we're looking to execute over the course of the trading day. So today now is Friday the 13th of July, and just before we begin, if I could just draw your attention to the risk warning currently up on screen, please do familiarize yourselves of course with the risks involved in trading these markets. Okay, so let's get straight in and discuss some high probability trading opportunities that we've identified to look at for the trading day ahead. So for this, we'll get up our trading platform. And the first market we're going to look at is the euro dollar. So of course, with our style and our approach, we do look for breaks of the daily lows. And as you can see, we saw and experienced the initial break just prior to the European Open. And we've had a really strong extension below the 1649. But let's go down into the smaller time frames, and we'll have a look at the potential to get the next leg of this market to the downside. So what we would ideally like to see with this market is we're currently experiencing a pullback off the 1613 level. So let me just make a note of that level on this chart, just in there. So the 1612. So what we've seen is a breakout below the 1649, right away, really strong move down to the 1612. Now we're currently experiencing a pullback. So what do we want to see happen? We would like to see this market come back to previous levels of support, which then become resistance, preventing prices from pushing higher. And if you get a little bit of consolidation around that opportunity and you get to see this market just rolling over to the downside, that's a great opportunity to get into this market. So we're looking for an opportunity to ideally, if we're talking about high probability setups, looking for an opportunity to actually sell this market in and around the 1649. Now, if we get that same setup in and around this level, which is obviously just a little bit lower, of course, the trade still exists. So it's still an opportunity even at these levels. And it looks like we're getting a little bit of the consolidation, as you can see on screen, as things currently stand. However, we do need to see this market break the 1612 to the downside. So obviously, there is the potential for this market to create what's called a structural failure, where we get a break, we get the push down to the downside, which is what we'd be looking to trade, and we get this reversal price action. So we do have to be careful of that, especially bearing in mind this is Friday now, and as the day drifts by, we shall sort of have to take that into consideration. So that's the euro dollar. Looking for opportunities to sell below the 1649. Now it's the same situation exactly with the pound dollar. This is the second market. It might be an opportunity to look at either perhaps one or the other. Now this market has extended lower, so there's slightly more weakness in the pound than there is in the euro. However, the same principle applies. So again, we did see the really strong move to the downside below the 3169. And if we go into the smaller term timeframes, we've got a similar situation. We've reached a low of the 3100. We've pulled back 30 pips, and now we're looking for that extension lower. So what we can actually do is look at this kind of level in here. Now we've seen this market pull back, and we could get an opportunity to sell this market in and around this level down here. The higher probability would without doubt, similar situation as the pound, as the euro. Could be up at this level, but that's quite a long way for this market to trade. So really, we'd be happy, first of all, to get into an opportunity around this level. And if that didn't work and the timing wasn't as good as it could be, then we get a bit of a reversal in this market, then we could look to sell this market from the 3169. Okay, and then the final market really that we've looked through all the markets, all of the 15 major global markets that we normally look at. And the third market is the dollar CAD. However, we want to trade this market above the weekly high. There's a lot of fundamentals behind the dollar strengthening against the Canadian dollar at the moment. Plus, we have technically this little bit of sort of bullish setup currently exists in this market. But as you can see, we've really struggled to break above these weekly highs of the 32.23 level. Now we are only the best part of 30-40 pips away from that, so it's just a level to familiarize yourself with, which would be a breakout to the upside, and you could get a nice high probability trade set up above the 32.23. So those are the three markets that we're going to look at. Of course, they're all correlated dollar markets. There is strength in the dollar at the moment. If we just have a quick look at the dollar index. Now, one thing to just bear in mind when we look at the dollar index is we are running in to the $95 level once more. So we do need to see eventually this dollar strengthen and break above the 95.22. And then that will tell us what is likely to happen next week. So just to recap, we're looking to buy the dollar CAD above the 32.23 level. We're also looking to sell the pullback in the British pound, potentially around below the 31.35 as sort of very close to these current levels as we see them. And if fails for whatever reason, then the higher probability trade is the 31.69. And then finally, same situation. We'd like to see, ideally for the high probability setup, this market pulled back to the 16.49 level and see if we get that next move to the downside. But just do be mindful of these lows because they could provide a daily low for this market. So do be aware of that. Okay, so that just about concludes then today's daily trade watch. Do feel free to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and LinkedIn. The details are, of course, there up on screen. And all that's left for me to do now is to thank you, as always, for joining us. Do take care, and we look forward to seeing you next time. For everyone here, bye for now.